Okay, let's get started. Very good afternoon, everyone. Greetings for the day. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure for us to joining here for the Chennai OutSystems User Group event. So today we are so happy to have this topic: front-end development in OutSystem. Where to begin? Let's get the session started. So speaking about the user group and community, OutSystems has a very large number of user group community all around the world. We have more than 782K members, and we have more than 2 million app downloads of forged usable components and built-in components. And we also have a training session where we have more than 2 million plus completed courses. So take a look into our community page, bookmark our community page at outsystems.com/community. You can get in touch with the user group page, ideas, all the pages using that single URL. If you want to contribute to the user group or if you want to join any user group, feel free to log into usergroup.outsystems.com. So search for the areas or specific topics that would be you be interested in, and it would be great to have you here. And we have two programs, special programs, champions and MVP. The applications is not opened yet, so we'll let you know, inform through LinkedIn or through the emails when once the champion and MVP program is opened. Moving on, we have our Odyssey training slots. So the recently we have opened the slots and it just got filled in just couple of hours. So people are so eager to learn OutSystems Odyssey, the cloud native component from OutSystems. So once the slot is open, book a slot and get certified. And it is so handy to write codes, and it's so easy to have the graphical user interface in the portal in Odyssey. So take it a try and give your best. And we have OutSystem Developer School. So people who are new to OutSystems, people who want to learn OutSystems, or people who are in OutSystems at very base level, log into outsystem.com/developer school. You'll be having set of questions. Just give your answers based on your interest. You'll be getting logged into the OutSystems Developer School batch. So once the batch is started, you'll be having expert training you from like MVPs and champions background and experts from different organizations. So you have a chance to get trained from stalwarts in the world of OutSystems, and you'll be standing a chance to win a voucher for the reactive certification exam. And if you want to contribute OutSystem as a product in the research program, you can scan this QR, or you can just search for OutSystem research program. You can log in and you can participate for each and every sessions you work with or you share your ideas with OutSystem research program. You will be getting it rewarded. And rules of engagement, this event is in a webinar format, so microphones and cameras are not enabled for the audience. If you have any questions or comment, please drop it in the questionnaire box or the chat box. And while you are joining, let us know where you are from, what organization you are from, and like what versions of OutSystem you have started. A brief intro about yourself. The meeting will be recorded and it will be shared through our official YouTube channel, Chennai OutSystems User Group. If you want to give us a suggestion, or if you want to share your valuable thoughts, please help us do so. We have a feedback email following up at the event. If you have to say something which is so crucial, you can log in us through our LinkedIn post. We have Hattie Mary and Krishnamba, the organizers of OutSystems Chennai User Group. We are so thankful for them to organizing events and as an OutSystem User Group in this region as a whole. And today we have Shubham Sharma, the consultant from Zebia. So speaking about Shubham, Shubham is all about tech and adventures. So he has bagging of 6 years of experience in the industry. So he's found this groove as both as a developer and as a trainer for OutSystems. So when you say coding, it's not just a job for him; it's his passion. Especially when it's come to OutSystems and front-end development, there is something magical about bringing ideas to life through lens of code. Shubham is so happy to do it. So when he is not diving into code, you can find Shubham exploring the world around and looking for adventures in his Instagram posts and everything. And with that note, Shubham, so we welcome you. Thank you so much for taking your time and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you, Judo. And thank you, Chennai User Group, for having me. Uh, Thank you. Let's start the session. So, as the session name is Introduction to OutSystems Frontend, so we'll start by there. So let me share my screen. Just a second. Okay. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, Shubham.
Thank you. So yes, today's topic is OutSystems front-end essentials. So what are the essentials things that you need to know to start working on front-end and OutSystems? We're going to simply dive into that. Today's agenda that we have is about all the essential topics of front-end development. Wherever is required, I'm also going to give you a demo. So opening an OutSystems application, and we're going to see at the inspecting it and see how the component loads in OutSystems. We have a Q&A session and quiz as well. If we talk about overview of front end in OutSystems or in general as well, so what is front end actually, right? So for an application or a website, front end or a client side, if we say, right, when we say client side or a front end, what is the meaning of it? So it is a part of a website or a web application that users interact with. Okay, so front end, as you can see in this image as well, right? It is a part where users interact with. So on the background, whatever complex code or logic is written, right? We don't want users to know that, right? It's not users, but you can say view to know that, right? So what users want is it's to be an attractive UI, right? And the backend, how the logic is working, user does not want to know that. So as a front-end developer, our key responsibility is to think like a user, right? Consider user's perspective. What this is our what we can say key responsibility, right? So if I'm adding a logo of an application, right, logo of my website. So if I've added on the top left corner, right here, the logo should be present on the same places in each screen. Why? Because when the user will going to open the application or your website, right, on one screen, if the logo is in a different place, right, it won't be a good user experience, right? So that is a front end development. How the stages of front end development works. So we broadly divide into four simple steps. Firstly, the UX designers create a wireframe diagram. They simply start from scratch and creates those sketches, right? The button should be here in all these places. Then they give these sketches, these wireframe diagram to UI team. So the UI team create high fidelity mockups based on those sketches, right? After we got those high fidelity mockups, it could be from in any tool, right? They'll give us those mockups, and with the help of mockups, those front end developers start working and creating actual applications. So front end development and back end development can also start together. Some says front end works will start first, and someone says back end development should start first, but it depends on the project, right? So if we see in actual perspective, these kind of mockups, or we can say if I wanted to add a button in my application, so first the UX team will going to create a wireframe diagram like this. Then the UI team will convert it into a what we can see high fidelity mockups, right? It will going to add a primary color of the button. It will going to use the font family which you are using in your complete application. After the UI team has created those high fidelity mockups, then the front end team will actually going to create those buttons or those designs. And then the backend developer team will going to create actions for those buttons. So once the button is clicked, what will going to happen? So this is generally what happens.
Shubham, sorry to stop. The screen is blank, Shubham. It's a white screen.
Okay. Second. Okay, so there is some problem with this edge. I'm not able to select the entire screen and share it, but let's try it again. Okay, is it visible now, Jerome?
Now it's visible. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerome. Okay, so yes, this will be the steps of development. Like a UX designer will create those mockups, then the UI designer will actually going to create those designs, and then front end developer or back end developer will going to create actions and actually will going to create those designs in an application. Now we go into OutSystems. When you create your OutSystems application, right, how the UI is created. So when you publish your application, when you deploy it on the front end server, right, so that you can view your application, HTML, JavaScript, and CSS will going to generate, right? So when you're going to inspect your application like this, you will able to find HTML, JavaScript, CSS attached to it, and we can also see the layout that you are using, right? So if we seek it properly, starting you'll get the your head tag. Inside that you'll go get your meta text for your visibility and SEO purpose. So first you'll get your meta text. After the meta text, what you're going to get, you will also going to get JavaScript files. So all the JavaScript which is needed in your application will be loaded. If you are adding any custom JavaScript and you have made it required, so those JavaScript file will also going to load. Right after JavaScript files, you can see CSS. So all the CSS files of your OutSystems UI, your own theme, if you are adding CSS in your screen level or a block level, those CSS file will going to load, right? So with this link tag, you're going to see all the CSS that is added in your application. After the head tag, you can see a body tag, which is a general structure of your application, right? So after the head tag, you will able to see a body tag. Inside the body tag, you can see some of the classes, which is very useful, like Chrome, Windows, Phone, and Portrait. What are these classes? We're going to see it as well. After this, you can see this layout top menu. Now, what is this layout top menu? So whenever you create your own screen, whenever you create a screen, you by default select a layout for that application. So the layout would be top menu or it would be a side menu layout, right? So whatever layout that you select in your application, when you publish your application and inspect it, you can see that layout in a div block. And inside this div block, whatever content that you are adding, right? You're adding a table, form, a list, all these content, then it will going to load, right? Your header, your breadcrumbs, title, and all of these will be loaded after this layout. Okay. So we have JavaScript, we have CSS files. If we see it in their application as well, okay. Is my application visible, Jerome? Because I'm not sure if I am able to share it.
No, Shubham, we are waiting for it to load. Yeah,
Okay.
now we can able to see a
Thank
browser
you.
with Service Center.
Okay, so
Sorry, slowly.
this is a demo application that we have, and if we simply inspect this application, right, the same thing that I have described you now, we have the head tag, we have meta tags, so all the meta tags has been added automatically. Then we have the JavaScript files, right, the settings.js, React View.js, all those files which OutSystems needs. After this, we have our link files. It means we have our CSS files which we have added. So here we can see different CSS files like React Widget CSS, OutSystems UI CSS, extra.css, and so on. Right, all these files which we need. After the head tag, we have body tag. Okay, and inside the body tag, you can see different classes has been attached. So we have a desktop class, landscape, Windows, Chrome, and is left to right. Now, what are these classes and why it is added there? So what is the meaning of desktop? Desktop means currently I'm opening my application in a desktop mode. So if I open it in a say mobile mode, right? So the class will going to change. So it's still Windows, Chrome, but the class for desktop has been changed to phone, right? Previously it was landscape. Now I can see in portrait mode, right? Because my application has been open in portrait mode, right? So these classes change dynamically how, like where I have opened my application. Okay, and we can take advantage of these classes to write our CSS, to write our custom CSS. Similarly, we have this class called is left to right. It means when our content is loaded from left to right, right? But whenever we are creating an application, a multilingual application, where it could be an Arabic content also, right? So we can simply check by using, instead of left to right, using right to left, and then we can see when my application content will going to load from right to left, how my application will look like, right? So we can simply change this class from left to right to right to left, and you can see the content had been added or viewed from right to left. So these are the classes, these are the dynamic classes we can take advantage of, which has been added in the body tag. Okay, let me refresh this application again. Yep. Okay, let's see what is inside the body tag now. So let's see what is inside the body tag. So inside the body tag, I have the layout top menu. Now, what is this layout dot top menu? This is the layout that is I have added for my screen. So if I open this movie screen, right, this movie screen is using layout top menu, which is a block, right? And inside this layout top menu, all my content is added, right? So I can see the layout top menu, and inside this, I can see my header, I can see my banners, and all the details that I have added. Okay. So this is how the content has been loaded in your application. When you publish your application, this is how it will going to load. Okay. Let's get back to the PPT. So sorry about that. I have to go back and forth because I'm not able to properly share my screen because of this Chrome. So let me quickly close it and share it again. Okay. So after this, we have themes. Okay. So what is themes in OutSystems? Okay. In general way, theme decide the look and feel of your application, right? With the help of themes, you can create a consistent UI throughout your application, right? If you're using any font family, right? If you're using an inter font or any kind of font, right? It should be same throughout your application, right? And it's not like this. You're going to add like all these fonts for each screen separately, right? So with the help of theme, you can write those CSS in one place, and then you can use these CSS in all those screens. Okay, so with the help of theme, we can create a consistent UI throughout our application. So if I'm using a button, the primary color should be same for the button, right? If I'm using any font sizes of the button or any titles, right? The title size should be fixed for each screen. Okay, so theme defines the look and feel of your application screen. We'll see where can we define those themes. So theme can be defined in a module level and a UI flow level. Okay, and we'll also going to see how we can change the layout of a theme as well. Okay, so again, if we go back to OutSystems application to see the themes, whenever you create a reactive type of module, whenever we create a reactive module, you will by default get a theme. So when you create a reactive module like this one I will by default get a theme called this theme. So I by default got this OSMDB theme, which is like name is OSMDB. I have a description. I have a public property, which is normal. But after that, I have OutSystems UI as a base theme. Now, what is this OutSystems UI? OutSystems UI is OutSystems theme. Okay, so if I remove this OutSystems UI from here, if I say I don't want any theme from OutSystems, I will create my own theme. Okay, so OutSystems UI is OutSystem theme, and if I change the base theme to none, all the CSS that I was using till this point, right? All the CSS for tables, all my headers, right? All the CSS is gone. Okay, so that is the use of base theme. Base theme means all the CSS that is written in OutSystems UI, our theme OSMDB will able to use it. Okay, our theme is built on top of it. Okay, so this is OutSystems UI. You can also see it here as well. So once you open OutSystems UI and you scroll down, you will be able to see all the CSS that is written in OutSystems UI. Okay, so OutSystems has added all these CSS for us so that we don't need to add it, right? So this OSMDB theme is built on top of OutSystems UI, means all the CSS that I need from OutSystem is providing me that, right? If I wanted to customize the CSS, if I wanted to change the layout of the table, I will write those CSS in my theme CSS. Okay, so theme CSS will going to have more precedence over OutSystems UI. Okay, we're going to see that as well. So in this theme CSS, we have OSMDB, we have base theme. Again, we can write CSS as well in the theme level, and then we have a grid property. Okay, so what is this grid property? Whenever you create a new screen, or whenever you have a screen and you wanted to create a design for it. So let's say I have this new screen and I have a container inside this screen, right? This container widget, I have an option of dividing this container into 12 columns. Okay, so from this themes, I can divide this container into 12 columns, but where it is defined in the grid property. So by default, the grid is fluid. It means it's responsive in nature. Okay, and the column count is defined as the 12 column. That is why I have the option of dividing this width into 12 columns. If I can also change this as well. So I want to divide my container or any widget into 122 columns. Then I would have an option of dividing it into 122 columns. Okay, so this fluid makes our application responsive, right? We are able to view it in a different screen sizes, and with the help of these grid properties like the column count 12, I can create a responsive design. Other than this, other than fluid, we have a fixed property. Right, it means screen size. Okay, inside, just a second. Okay, so this if I wanted to create a design for a PC, or I wanted to create a design for say a 52-inch PC or a LCD, I know that this will be the screen size of it. Then I'm going to use it as a fixed, right? It does not mean that it's responsive in nature. How the fixed total width is calculated? It's calculated based on column and the width of each column. So we have a column count and we have a column width. Based on that, total width will be calculated. Okay, so this is fixed. By default is a fluid in nature. By default, the grid type is fluid, and we should keep it like this. We should keep the grid type as fluid. Okay, so other than grid type fluid, we have a gutter width property, which is very important. Okay, let's see what is gutter width property. If we have two widgets right next to each other, so I have a container with a text, okay, and I have a second container with again a text. You can see I have two containers. I have two containers with six columns. Okay, we publish this as well, and both is taking equal spaces, right? But other than these two containers, in the second container, I have some margin left assigned to it, right? I have a space between these two containers, right? But I did not define it that whenever I'm using two widgets, it should have some space between this. Okay, it is defined with the help of gutter width property. So if I open this screen in the browser, okay, so here if I open the screen into the browser and inspect it, between the first container, this is my first container, and this is my second container. Okay, so first container and second container, you can see in the second container, there is a margin left assigned to it. Okay, so second container has a margin left. If I scroll down, you can see a new class has been added called theme grid margin gutter, and it has added a margin left of 1.9%. Okay, how the margin has been added into the second container, right? We simply created the container, we did not added any margins into it, right? We did not added any class as well. But what OutSystem suggests is if you're using two widgets right next to each other, there should be some margin between them. There should be some space between them. So the content should easily readable and to create a better UI. Okay. So because we have defined margin gutter width as 30, which is by default, so it will going to take 30% of the total width of a screen. So it will automatically going to take uh, in the right hand side on the right container, it will automatically going to add a margin left to it. Okay. So this gutter width property adds the space between two containers or two widgets. If I change it to 0, if I change the gutter width property to 0, now you can see there is no space between these two containers. So if you want that there should not be any space or there should not be any margins added automatically, you wanted to add it yourself, then you can remove the gutter width property. Okay, and 30 is the by default property that we got. Okay, so we have this grid property, we have grid type fluid, fixed, and none. And we have a gutter width property which we can use to add a space between containers or widgets. Okay, then we have a layout. Okay, so every time you create a new screen, so I created this screen one, right? I have created this screen one, and in the widget tree, I by default got a layout top menu, right? So I did not selected it that I want a layout top menu or I want a layout side menu. Whenever you create a screen, you will by default get a layout. Okay, and where it is defined, it is defined in the layout property of this theme. Okay, so if you scroll down, it is by default select is, so whenever you create a new screen, you will by default get a layout top menu. Okay, but if you want to change the layout, you can also use other layout that is available. You can see these are the layouts that are available: layout base, layout blank, or side menu. And if you want, you can also create more layout. You can also create your own custom layout, and that you can select as a default layout. Okay, so if you wanted to add a side menu layout, you can simply on the theme level, click on your theme, scroll down, and select side menu layout. Okay, the layout has been changed to side menu. But there is one thing that we need to keep in mind, that you can see I already have some screens, right? And all the screens are still following top menu layout. So although I have changed the layout to side menu in my theme, but the current screen of whichever I have created previously are still following top menu layout. Okay, so changing the layout will only going to affect newly created screens. So whenever you create screens, right, whenever you create new screens, only those screens will going to affect from the layout, from the new layout. Okay, so that is why it is always considered a best practice. So to create your layout or to set your default layout before creating any screen, right? Otherwise, all the previous screens will not going to follow your default layout, will still going to follow your previous layout. Okay. If you want, you can also then you can also manually change the layout from here, right? But it will going to add some extra steps. You need to do some extra steps to do that. Okay. So it is always considered a best practice to change your layout or to select your layout before creating any screen. Okay. So this is themes, all the property we have discussed about the base theme, which is our OutSystems UI, grid property, and the layout property.
Shubham, sorry to stop you. Can you please reshare again? We have give you full access so that you can able to see all the options.
Sure. Thank you. Let me do that. Okay, let's see if it is visible. Is my browser visible? You know?
Yeah, your browser is visible. Can you show the inspect page,
Oh, sure.
the debug option? I just want to check.
Yeah. Is that
Okay.
visible?
Thank you, Shubham. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Jerome. Yeah.
Thanks, team, for your patience.
Okay, so these are themes that we were discussing. So themes define the look and feel of your application, and it has all these properties. The important properties that we have discussed is base theme, grid property, and layouts. One more thing that themes can be defined in two places. You can select a theme for a complete module that my module will follow this theme. You can also select a theme for UI flow levels, right? So let's say I have different UI flows. I have a UI flow for customer and I have a separate UI flow for employees. So customer UI flow could follow different theme and these customer or employee UI flow could follow different theme. Okay, for an example, whenever you create an email template, right? So right now I only have one theme, okay? And in my module level, my default theme is this theme, OSMDB. So all the UI flow is also following the default theme. Okay, so all the UI flow is following OSMDB theme. But whenever I create an email template, when I right click and create an email template, right? You can see this notification here. It says once you create this email, it will add to a new UI flow which uses another theme. Okay, so a separate theme will going to add for this. So whenever I create an email, so you can see email UI flow is automatically created, right? And I also got one more theme called email theme. Okay, this email theme, first of all, does not follow OutSystems UI. So base theme is none. It means all the CSS that was written in OutSystem UI, this particular email theme does not have it. Why? Because it does not need to, right? This email theme needs some smaller CSS, right? Only some set of CSS, which is automatically added in the style sheet. Okay. So our email theme is created with a custom style sheet, okay, and that is added as a default theme in email. So all the other UI flow is following the default theme of the module, which is OSMDB, but this email UI flow is following email theme. Okay, so in two places you can select a theme. You can select a theme in complete module, or you can select a theme in a UI flow. Okay, base theme, as we have discussed, base theme is OutSystems UI, right? You can also create your own foundation theme, your own base theme, and that also you can select as a base theme, right? But as a best practice, it should also follow OutSystems UI because you don't want to write all these CSS yourself. Okay, so OutSystems UI theme or OutSystems UI style sheet loaded first and then our main theme loads. So that is why it's easier to customize OutSystems UI. We'll also going to discuss that. Then we have a grid property. Okay, grid property, we have the option of dividing our widgets into different columns, and all these properties that we are using at a runtime, it will going to create a file called extra.css, and in that file it will going to load all the css. So in runtime, extra.css file will going to load for this. Other than these normal properties, in the extra.css file, you can also see properties for this width, right? You can select width type like column 1, 2, 3, up to 6, right? So when you select a column width 5, by default, it will going to take 40%, 40 point some percent of the width of the screen, right? All these CSS is also added in the extra.css file. So when you run your application, a file name called extra.css will going to add it into your application. Okay, these are the two ways to apply a theme. Either you can apply a theme on a module level, or you can apply a theme on a UI flow level. We have discussed about layouts. So layouts is by default you can select in a theme. You could have by default layout top menu or side menu, right? But if you want, you can also customize your layout. Okay, so to customize your layout, what you can do, you can, and the best way I suggest to customize the layout would be to copy the existing layout, right? If you wanted to create a new layout, copy your existing layout and add all the widgets or customize it according to your need. Okay, that will be the best way to customize the layout. But few things which we need to keep in mind when we are creating a custom layout, that it should be responsive in nature, right? It should be compatible with all the versions or all the screens, and it should also follow scaffolding, right? So scaffolding process, I hope you guys already know about it. It means whenever you drag and drop any entity into the screen, it will automatically going to create screens for those entities, right? It will automatically going to create list and detail screen for that entity, right? That scaffolding process works with the help of placeholders that you added in your screen. So all these placeholders that you add, right? Title placeholders, action placeholders, and breadcrumb placeholders. These placeholders helps scaffolding process to add content in different places. So whenever you are customizing a layout, always remember to keep the naming same of all the placeholders. Title placeholder should be named as title. Similarly, breadcrumb placeholder should name as breadcrumb, so that it is easier to add the content when the user is using scaffolding process. Okay, so these are layout. You can customize your own layout as well. Then we have patterns. Okay, pattern is also very interesting topic, right? We had normal widgets, right? We have input widgets, we have our drop down widget, we have so many widgets, right? But what is different in patterns, right? Why pattern is different from a normal widgets? So we can say patterns are pre-built UI components which OutSystem has created for us. So there are certain scenarios, right, which we normally use as a developer, right? So we had normal input widget, but in some times we also want input with icon. Whenever we require input with icon, we need to create it ourselves, right? We need to write some extra CSS to create input with icon, right? So these are some cases with our developer needs. So OutSystem has created a pattern for it so that you can easily use input with icon and you don't need to write extra custom CSS. Okay, similarly we have different patterns. We have alert, we have card patterns, and we have columns, right? So all these patterns we use normally in our application as well. Why we use patterns? To speed up the development, right? So that I don't need to write my custom CSS to create that input with icon. It's already there, right? So it speed up the development. It improves maintenance as well, right? Because OutSystem itself maintain patterns. We don't need to create CSS for this. We don't need to write CSS. It improves code readability as well because everyone is using similar patterns, right? So everyone is using the same pattern. So that's why it improves code readability. Everyone understand about it, and it leads to consistency. Okay, it's not like this. You're going to use some different pattern in one screen and some different pattern in the second screen, right? So it leads to consistency as well. We're going to see about different pattern as well when we're going to talk about lifestyle guide. So we have patterns, layouts, and theme. The next main topic that we're going to discuss about is CSS. Okay, CSS is how we're going to use CSS in OutSystems. So there are different ways in which you can use CSS in OutSystems, and we're going to talk about all these ways, right? From beginner to advanced level, how to write my own custom CSS. We'll talk about all these. Okay. So style classes, the very first way to write CSS would be by using these style classes that we have. So most of the input widget has this style classes section where we can use predefined style classes provided by the OutSystems, or we can use our own custom CSS, right? We can also create our own custom classes and we can add it here. Okay. For example, if I go here in my screen too, here, right? So let's see if I wanted to customize this container one, right? So if I wanted to customize this container one, I have this style classes option where I can use different style classes. Okay, let's say I can use a background blue dark. So what is this class? This background blue dark class is provided by OutSystems, right? It is written in OutSystems UI. We are simply using it, right? Similarly, we can add a space and add a class, add a different class also. So we can add a class for text, right? So we can add a class for text as well. We can also add a class for font sizes. So say font size, semi bold, or we can also use classes for what we can say headings. Let's say heading 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? This will increase the font size of our text. So this is one way to write CSS in OutSystems by using style classes. Because we are using existing CSS, which is OutSystems UI, right? It is also considered as a best practice. Okay, what is the disadvantage of it? I would not say it's a disadvantage, but what is the problem when writing these kind of CSS would be that I don't know that this CSS is available, right? Or I don't know what are the different classes available for to use it, right? For that, we have something called lifestyle guide, which we'll talk about. So the very first way to create classes or create styling would be using style classes section. Okay, so here I can simply write or use different classes that is available by OutSystems. Okay, if I wanted to customize my second container, this container, I can also write my own custom CSS. Okay, so if I wanted to create my own custom CSS, that I can do with the help of this CSS section over here. So just click on the CSS tab, right? We have screen one, OSMDB, and OutSystems UI. So till this point, we have three tabs. So OutSystems UI, which is non-editable, is OutSystems theme, as I said. So I cannot, what we can say, customize it. I cannot add any CSS here. Now we have theme level and a screen level CSS. What is the difference between a theme level and a screen level CSS? It's simple. Theme level means whenever I write any CSS here in theme level, it will be available in all the screens that is following this theme, right? All the UI flow which are following this theme. So all these that CSS will be available in all the screens. But when I write any CSS on screen level, it will only available on this screen level CSS or on only on this particular screen, which is screen one. Okay. So let's say I wanted to write some CSS, I can create it with the help of class. So I'll add a dot, simply say title, a title. We can simply add size, we can add a color, we can add a background color, right? This way we can add multiple CSS, but you can simply copy the class name. The main goal is that I can add this custom CSS that I have created. Right now I have created in the screen level. Okay, we can copy this class called title and we can add it right here. Okay, so you can see the CSS that the custom CSS that we have created in a screen level, we are able to use it in the style class section. So with this style class section, here this style class property, I can either use OutSystems CSS or I can either use my own CSS that I have created. Okay. So this way we can also create custom CSS. Custom CSS you can create on two labels. You can create it either on a base theme, so or your module theme or a screen and a block theme. Okay. So we said right in a theme level, if I write CSS, it will be available throughout my theme. If you are adding any CSS on a screen or a block level, it will only available on that particular screen or a block. Okay. The second way or one more way to apply styling would be with the help of styles tab. Okay. So style tab is one of the way in which also we can apply styling, or I'll say it will be the easiest way to apply styling. So let's say let's add one more container right here with one more text. Okay. So I have a container with a text, right? Now in this container, if I wanted to apply some styling, okay, how can we apply some styling right here? We can simply select a color, text color, we can apply that. We can add a border, like we can make it bold, italic, we can add underline. We can also add some, we can say background color to it, something like this, right? And this way we can apply styling with the help of styles tab, right? So we have seen three types. Okay, we have seen to apply we have seen applying classes with the help of outsystem class. We have seen this way in this particular container we have applied styling with the help of custom CSS, and this way we have applied styling with the help of styles tab. Okay, now let's see which of these is considered best practice and which of these are not considered as best practice, right? We have seen three different ways in which we can apply styling, and let's see how out of these which are not considered as best practice. Okay, so let's open this screen one right here. Okay, guys, do you know about inlines, the different ways to write styling, about inline CSS, external and internal CSS? If you know about it, just give a thumbs up or react to it. Okay, so let's see right here. So the very first that we have done, we have used OutSystems CSS. So in this first day, we can see we are using a class and we are using OutSystems CSS right here. So it is added as a class, background blue, dark, text cyan, and all these classes. Similarly, in the second div, it is also added as a class, right? So first way and the second way, it means using OutSystems CSS, our own custom CSS as well, is considered as a best practice. Okay, although the second way we should have written our CSS on theme level, but yeah, it is considered as a best practice. But when we use the third way, when we use styling with the help of style step, what is the difference here? Okay, can you guys see? On the first and second way, the style has been added as a class, but whenever we use style editor, it is added as an inline CSS. It means that the style has been added inside the tag itself by using this style property. Okay, and this does not consider, right? So everyone knows about it, that you not use inline CSS anywhere in your application. So although first and second consider as best practice, but using style editor till this point does not consider as a best practice. Okay, so what then? Should we not use style editor then? Okay, no, we have a workaround with it. So what we can do, once you are done with all these things, right? Once you are done adding all these properties, right? You have a button called Save Changes to Reusable Class. Simply click on this and it will ask you to provide a class name. So I'll simply say screen one, because I'm adding the CSS on screen one, and title 3. Once you do that, this class, this particular class you can see has been added as a custom CSS. Whatever property till this point we were using, right? A class has been created for it, right? Which call as screen one title 3, and it is added as it what we can see in a theme level. Now there is two benefit of this. The very first benefit would be that those inline CSS that we are able to see will be gone, right? It will be converted as a class. And second, because it is added in a theme level, it means we can use this particular class in any screen that we wanted to use. Okay, so we can simply copy this class now, and in any screen which is following this particular theme, we can apply the same styling. Okay, so this way we can use the style editor. But one thing that we need to keep in mind is that after we are done with the styling, click on this option called Save Changes to Reusable Classes and apply or create a specific class for it. So now when we refresh it, okay, when we refresh it now and we inspect it, what could be the change that we can see? Here in the third container, on the third container also, it is also now converted as an external CSS, right? It is added as a class called screen1 underscore title 3, right? And I can also see this class right here. And if we see how it is loaded in osmdb.css. So in my theme CSS file, this class has been added. Okay. So these are the some ways in which we can use CSS in OutSystems. Okay. You can use OutSystems CSS. You can also write your own custom CSS, and even we can use style tabs. Okay. The only thing that we need to remember is after you are done with all the styling, click on this button called Save Changes to Reusable Classes to convert it into a class. If you don't do that, you will have some problems, like it will be harder to maintain, right? So if you are writing any inline CSS, it will be hard to maintain, right? So whenever there is a change, whenever you need to change those inline CSS, you need to go to each and every element and change it manually. Then you would have UI flickering issues. Okay, when your screen is loading, it can possible that sometime you will see some different color on a text, and once it's fully loaded, then you will see a different color. So you will have UI flickering issues, you will increase the HTML footprint, and there could be multiple issues. Okay, so that's why we should always avoid inline CSS and click on this button called Save Changes to Reusable Classes. Okay, now let's talk about CSS file loading. CSS file loading is very important. Okay, as CSS stand for cascading style sheet, it means whichever file loads last has highest precedence over it. Okay, I'm going to give you an example of it. Okay, so let's see when we have a block. So let's create a small block. Okay, block one, and in this we're going to add a text. This is my block one. We have some demo text. Okay, so now this demo text block, let's create some CSS for it. Okay, let's create a custom CSS. Okay, so we're going to create title And in this, we're going to apply some CSS. We're going to apply a background color. So for this, I'm adding a background color brown. I'm adding a font size of around 30 pixels. And let's say we are using a text color as aqua. So this is my title class that I have created for this particular blog. Okay. Please keep in mind that I am adding this particular CSS class in a block level. Okay. So we have different places where we can create custom CSS, block level, screen level, theme level, right? And we are seeing which one has highest precedence. So first we are creating this class on a block level, and let's add a text. Okay. So this particular text, now you can see when I have applied title class, it has a background color brown and has an aqua color on the text. Okay. Now same block, let me put it in this screen one. Okay. Let me remove these 3 containers. Okay. Same block, I'm going to put it into screen one right here. Okay. I can still see this color, but now here, if I use the same class, okay, I already have a class right here. So I can still see the blocks color, right? But now this time we're going to apply some CSS on a theme level. So previously we in this particular block, by using title class, we are writing this particular CSS, background color, font size and color. Now using the same class, right, on a theme level. So when we apply the same class on the theme level, and when we change the background color or any property, let's say background color to blue, and text color should be white. Right? Now you can see when I have applied the same class, which is already have added in the block level, right? I have added in the theme level. You can see background color and text color has been changed. This means theme level CSS has higher precedence over block level CSS. Okay. Same thing, if I copy this class now and add it in a screen level, okay, let's change the background color again. And let's change the white color, this text color to red or something. I can see again the color has been changed. Means that screen level CSS has even higher precedence than block and theme level CSS. Okay, so if we talk about CSS file loading, we have 3 different places where we can write CSS: block level, theme level, and screen level. We have also seen an example. In block level, if I add this and some border, we have save underscore custom or card dash custom. If you use it in theme level, and then we use it in a screen level, which will going to have highest precedence. So it will look like this. First, block level CSS will going to load, then the theme level CSS will going to load, and at the end, screen level CSS will going to load. Okay, so at the end, screen level CSS will going to have the highest precedence over block level and theme level CSS. Okay, as the name suggests, CSS means cascading style sheet. So whichever file loads last has highest precedence. So whenever we apply this color or these properties, this is how it will look in browser. Okay, if we see in our browser as well, let's refresh. Okay, you can see, I can see colors from screen level. So if I click here and inspect this element, right, if we inspect this pen, I can see this title, right? And from where this title is coming, this particular class is coming from screen level, right? We can also see previous classes that is applied to it, which is theme level and a block level. Okay, so screen level CSS has highest precedence over theme and block level. because if we see this loading of a file, how file loads in our systems, in here in the link property, first we have React widget and then we have block level CSS. So block level CSS is the first CSS that loads if we compare from theme and screen level. So that's why block level has least amount of precedence. Okay. Then OutSystems UI, and then is our theme level CSS, which is our OSMDB. So that is why whenever you add some class in a block level, you can easily what we can say customize it, or you can easily replace it with the help of theme level CSS. Okay. And at the end, we have our screen level CSS. So screen level CSS loads last. That is why it has highest amount of precedence over theme and block level CSS. Okay. Guys, anyone has any doubts in it? Okay. Any questions? Okay, it is also very important, let's say in future, if we prepare for certification also, this will be one of the, what we can say, key points, or from key topic from which you can expect some questions around it. Okay, so screen level CSS will going to have highest amount of precedence. If we talk about some of the best practices that we should follow when we are writing or whenever we are creating our own custom CSS, first would be we should always avoid using ID selectors. Okay, that we should not use. So I hope you guys know that we can write CSS, or we can create CSS with different selectors. Let's say ID, with which we use hash, then we use dot for classes and all. So ID selector we should not use, because ID selectors is managed by OutSystem itself. Okay, OutSystem uses those ID selectors. Okay, how OutSystem use it? Whenever you name your element anything, so this is my text, right? If I see here, if I inspect this particular text or this span widget that is created, right now I does not have any ID selector here. You can see. But when I add it, any name of this, when I give name of this text, so this will be my dummy text. Okay, so whenever you give naming of any of the widgets, right? You're naming your text widget, right? It will be converted as ID on runtime. So previously, when we see this span tag, it does not have any ID attached to it, ID property attached to it. Whenever you name or give any naming to it, right? And then you can see it has an ID called b3-dummy text, right? You can see clearly here that I have given the name as dummy text, right? But when in runtime, it is how it is added as b3-dummy text, right? So we does not know that in runtime how it will going to work, right? How it will going to change our ID. So that is why it is always a best practice to avoid using ID selectors. Okay. We also need to be aware of CSS specificity, selectors performance, right? How the performance or specificity works. That inline CSS has highest precedence than your ID selectors, class, then your normal text. So we also need to be aware of CSS specificity as well. Okay. One more thing, we have different places to write custom CSS. We can write it in a block level, we can write it in a screen level or a theme level, but always try to write it on a theme level. That will consider as a best practice. Okay, there are two major reasons for it, because when you write CSS on your theme level, it will be available throughout your application, throughout your module. Okay, and also it will be easy to maintain as well. So whenever you need to change those classes and change some property of it, you can simply open the theme mod or theme and change the classes, and it will be applied, it will be applicable to all the places where you are using those classes. So always try to write CSS on a theme level, right? If you write CSS on a screen level and a block level, you'll also going to get a warning or issue in your AI Mentor Studio as well. Okay. The next thing would be to know about code conventions. And this is also a very important topic. So yes, we understand that, okay, this is how we can create our custom classes, right? So with the help of CSS tab, now I can create my custom styling. But normally, many people have these questions that how should I name my classes, right? So for this, we have something called block element modifier. Okay, so block element modifier help us to name, or it gives us a syntax in which we can name our classes. Okay, for an example, so if you have a block, okay, we are considering it as a block. So this block name is card block. So whenever you are applying any styling for this complete block, okay, this complete card block, simply use the name of the block, card. Okay, because whenever you create a second block and say you are naming it card again, it won't work. It will say card one. So you could not have two blocks with the same name or two screens. So that is why whenever you're applying any styling for the complete block or a screen, use the name or block of the screen. Okay. Then when you wanted to apply styling for a particular element of that block or a screen, right? So if you are applying for a title section, for a content section, or for a footer section, then use dot card dash title. Okay, this way anyone who is going to see it will understand, okay, this styling has been applied to the title section of the block or title section of the screen. Whenever you wanted to apply styling for in classes like active class, or inactive state, so then you can use double dash, right? So dot card double dash active. So you can use it for a button as well, right? So whenever button is active, whenever button is inactive, you can use double dash for it. So dot card double dash active or double dash inactive. And when you wanted to use it for element plus the modifier, you can use it like this, dot card dash title dash dash red. Okay. In an example, if you see it right here, this is my block one. So whenever I write some CSS for the complete block, what I can say, I can write dot block one, and I can say font family, I can apply background color to it, and so on. So whenever I wanted to apply the class for the complete block, I can directly use the block theme. When I wanted to apply class for some section of a block, then I can apply dash title dash what you can say table and anything else. And whenever I wanted to apply styling for a modifier, whenever I wanted to apply styling for any active instances like clicked, right, active or inactive, then I can use double dash for it. Okay, so these are the things that we need to keep in mind whenever we are naming our classes. Okay, other than that, we also have something called theme editor, right? So we can create CSS, but normally when we create CSS, it will be for a single screen, right? It would be for a particular element, right? But with the help of theme editor, we can apply styling for my complete module. Okay, so right next to CSS button, we have a theme editor section. With that, we can use it for applying color palettes, typography, structure. We can also change login background or templates. So if I open this, we have this option called theme editor. Okay, but before that, let's revisit here. Right now, you can see we have three tabs: block level, screen level, and OutSystems UI. Okay, now let's open out theme editor. So this is my theme editor. With this theme editor, I can apply styling for my complete module. I can select any of the color palettes that are available, right? So if I open movie screen, here you can see the color palette has been changed. This way we can change the color palette. We can select primary color from here. We can also select background color from here. Whatever we are applying, theme editor will going to apply it for the complete all the screens that is following this particular theme. Okay, it says OSMDB theme editor. It means all the screens that are following this theme, it is going to apply it for the theme. You can also upload your image, and based on the image, it will going to select the color palette. You can also change the background color or header color from here. You can change the font family from here. So there are some fonts that are available which you can use. You can increase and decrease the font size of your application. You can increase and decrease the spacing around all those components, all those elements. You can increase or decrease and your header size from here, right? Normally also when I wanted to create a button, right, to make it consistent, we can change border layout of all the elements from right here. So normally if I create a button, I forgot to make it like make it round or make it little bit curve, right, to add it a curve. But from here we can add it as none. So all these widget does not have any border now, right? If I have a button also right here, the movie screen, right? This button does not have any border now. But if I add rounded, all the widgets or button also have rounded now. Similarly, I can add it soft and rounded. So this way it will follow the same border styling for all the elements of the widget. Okay, not just this, we can also customize our login screen. Okay, so whenever we create reactive applications, login screen by default provided by the OutSystems, right? So we does not need to create a login screen. And to customize it, we can use theme editor. So you can change the background color from here. You can also apply gradients, and we can also use images as a background of this login screen. So we can upload your own images, and you can also upload use the existing images that is available. Okay, so from the theme editor, you can change the color palette, you can change typography, structure, and this design of your login screen. Once you've done this, once you have made all the changes, it will be reflected in all the screens that is present in this module that is following the default theme. Plus, it will also going to add one more tab in this style sheet. Now you can see I have one more tab is added as a theme editor. So previously I had screen level, theme level, and OutSystems UI. Now I also have theme editor option here. Okay, and all the CSS that I have added or all the changes that I have done on the theme editor, added right here. Okay. Now, one more important thing in terms of certification as well, you can see, and in terms of knowledge, you can also see. So whenever you apply, or now we can see four tabs, right? Whenever I open this style sheet section, I can see four tabs. But when I publish this application, will it going to convert four different files for this? So no. In runtime, it will only going to have three files for these tabs. One for OutSystems UI, one for screen, if I have any CSS here, right? If I don't have any CSS for screen, then screen will not going to be added. And there will be one file for theme editor and theme. So at runtime, all the CSS of your theme will be added in the theme editor. You can see it here as well in this example. Okay. In theme, I have added a cart custom CSS, right? I have added a CSS called cart custom. At runtime, it is added on the bottom section of this theme editor, right? So on runtime, there will be only one theme which will going to load or which will going to run, which will be your theme. Okay, it will be your main theme, module theme, and all the CSS that you are adding on the custom theme section, it will be added as a bottom in the bottom part of your theme editor, right? It will be going to add as a bottom in your main theme. So although you have root and all these classes, but your cart custom class will be added as a bottom in your main theme. Okay, so this will be the theme editor, and at runtime it will only going to create three CSS. Other than this, we have something called lifestyle guide as well, which is also very important, right? Previously I said, right, we have some issue as well. I will not say it will, we have what we can say a disadvantage of using custom CSS or using OutSystems CSS. Say, if I'm using container and a text right here, right, it is hard to remember all these classes which is present in OutSystems UI. Okay, to do that, we have something called lifestyle guide. Okay, so let me show you that. Simply open your browser and search for lifestyle guide OutSystems. Okay, and this is OutSystems documentation which you can use to apply styling. You can search for patterns, widgets, and screen templates. Okay, so when we go to the style section, we have 4 or 5 sections like color, typography, border, spacing, and shadow. If you go on the color section of lifestyle guide, you can scroll down and see all these color palettes that are available, right? So as a front-end developer or whenever you're creating your front-end UI, you should always keep this lifestyle guide handy. Okay, for an example, I wanted to apply some styling. Okay, so we have background color, text color, and CSS variables. Okay, I can simply copy the background color whenever I wanted to apply background color. Okay, don't copy this dot, and we can simply paste it right here. Okay, still it will consider as best practice because we are not creating any of our custom CSS. It is present in OutSystems UI. Okay, we are simply using it. So whenever I wanted to apply some colors like this, I can copy the background class. Okay, or if I wanted to add some text color, right, I can copy this text color from here, text indigo lighter, and can add a space and paste it right here. Okay, so it's little small. We change it. Okay, so you can see color text has been also changed. Similarly, we can add different colors. So there are lots of color available, right? Whatever color that I like, I can select the background color or a text color for this. Okay, and by adding some space, so background color, space, text color, we can add it like this. Not just color, we also have typography, right? So we can apply different font sizes, right? We don't know what are the different font sizes available, right? We know that heading 1 to 6 are available, but other than that also we have something called display. We can copy this font size display, and here we can add a space and paste it. So now you can see the text color has been changed. And if you wanted to know what will be the pixels or what will be the line height for this, you can see this display would have 36 pixels and the light will be 1.25. Similarly, you can use it for heading till 6. You can use it for body, small, extra small. Okay, not just this, you have classes for font weight. So regular, semi bold, or light. You can add it here as well. So this lifestyle guide, as you can see, is there so that you don't need to remember all the classes that is present in OutSystems UI. You can simply open this lifestyle guide and you can use these classes. Similarly, if you want to transform your text to uppercase, lowercase, and capitalize, from here you can do that. You have borders option as well, right? To make your say images, buttons more rounded, to make it circle or to keep it soft. You can copy the classes from right here. See, if you have an image, which we normally have an issue with, so if you have an image and you make it rounded, right? You wanted to create a circle or you want to display it as a circle. Now you can copy the class and paste it right here. So you don't need to write those CSS, extra CSS says border radius 50%, or you don't need to add any width there. You can simply apply the styling right here. Okay, we also have spacing options. So if you wanted to use spacing, which is very helpful, right? especially when you wanted to apply spacing in a single direction, right? So you wanted to add some top spacing like top padding or margin. You wanted to add it right, bottom. It you also have a vertical spacing and horizontal spacing, right? When you wanted to give equal spacing around top and bottom, you can use like padding Y base, padding margin Y base, and you can also use it horizontally. What you just need to open lifestyle guide and go to the place called spacing. You also have shadows option. When you wanted to apply shadow, just copy the shadow class, right, and paste it right here. Then the shadow will also be applied. Okay, so this lifestyle guide is there to help us to create a better UI and to follow best practice. Okay, and not just styling. You have an option of patterns, widgets, and screen templates. So if you want to, right, we discuss about it as well. You wanted to see all the patterns that are available. You can see it from here, like from rent sliders to a search, right? Input with icon, right? Click here. You can see how it will going to look like in a screen. You can click on the search, right? When to use, it is written here. How it will look like, it is also defined here, and how to. So whenever you wanted to use any patterns, right, a search pattern or any pattern that is available here, right, alert, accordion, you just need to search it in your screen. Okay, so here I just need to search for search, and you can see search pattern is available. Okay, similarly I can search for other pattern as well. Let's say there is pattern something called display on device. See, now I have searched for display on device and it's not available. So sometime it happens when you search for a pattern, it's not available. You can click here called search in other modules, right? And then it is going to search for this display on device pattern, and you can see it is available. So then you can click here and you can use it. So I need to search it like this, display on device. Okay, if it is not available here, you are not able to see it. You just need to click on the that box and select it. From here, I can select. Okay, it's available right here, so I can use it. So with this display on device pattern, right, I have three options: desktop, tablet, and phone. Okay, so let's say this image, this particular image, I wanted to display only on desktop view. So I can copy this image or cut it from here, and only I will going to add it in the desktop section. So this particular image will not be visible on a tablet mode or a phone mode. It will only visible on this desktop mode. Okay, we can use the classes that we talked about, which is available in body, like phone, desktop, and tablet. And if you want, you can also use these kind of patterns to do that. Okay, so whenever you wanted to hide certain items, certain widgets on different screen sizes, you can use this display on device. Okay, let's open this in browser. So this is a desktop mode. So the image should be visible in this desktop mode. You see the image is visible. If I inspect it and open a mobile mode, now the image is not visible. If I make it responsive and desktop mode, it is visible, but whenever I go to the tablet mode or phone mode, then the image will not be visible. Okay. Similarly, we can use different images as well. Let's say in desktop, the image will be different. In tablet, the image will be different, and phone, the image will be different. Right. So we can use these patterns for that. Similarly, we have other patterns as well that is available, like move on device, which is also important. So if it is on the right hand side on desktop, I wanted to move it on the bottom. Something like this, you can do this with the help of move on device pattern. Then you have align center and other patterns as well. Okay, you can also see the list of widgets that are available here, and you can also see screen templates. Okay, screen templates, you can see all the list of screen templates like this dashboard template. You can also see how it will going to look like. It has a button also to export a report. It will have a pop-up or you need to apply that action, right? Once you like this screen template, you can simply use it in our application. So once you like it, you can simply create a new screen. You can select the template that you liked, right? And it will be going to add it in your screen with what we can say default values. So it will going to add it as a default value as a, then you can customize it and you can add your actual values. So whenever you use this, like say 4 column gallery, so it will load with default products. And whenever you wanted to use your own products, you want to display your own products, you can simply add your, you can change the entity with your entity. Okay. And this way you will be able to display your own products. Okay. So lifestyle guide is helpful for styles, patterns, widget, and screen templates. Okay. You also have these helper classes in OutSystems UI. We already discussed about margin Y as well. So it will give you an option of giving vertical spacing and horizontal spacing. You also have these images classes with which you can create images as a circle, as a rounded image, or you can also create a thumbnail image with this as well. So there is a lot to discuss in OutSystems as a front end, but these are the some points which will help you to start working with a front end development in OutSystems. So if you have any doubts, if you have any questions, you can ask it now. Q&A. Anyone has any questions? Okay, I can see sort of question why B3 has been added. Okay, in which place, Saurabh? B3.
Yeah, hi Shubham. I think Sharab is mentioning about the IDs while creating
Yes. So
this.
yes, yeah, you're right. Thank you, Judo. So that is a very good question, Saurabh. As I said, right, we don't know how OutSystem will going to change the IDs, right? We added as a dummy text, right, as an ID, but the place of the text is not directly placed on the block. We have added that text within a container or within some element, inside some element, right? So that is why it is dynamically created an ID. So that is why it's not a best practice to use ID because we don't know how dynamically it will going to change. Okay. Okay. Any more questions, guys? Okay. These questions or these topics are also very important related to certifications, front-end certifications. Okay. So it will be helpful for you as well. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask them.
Thank you, Shubham. I think there are no questions.
Okay. So
Okay, I think we can move on to the quiz. Before that,
yeah. So before that, the last thing, which is this. So yeah, maybe you will have any questions future when you try doing front end development yourself, right? Or if you want to discuss about certifications or anything, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, guys. Okay, so the first QR is my LinkedIn QR. You can uh, scan this and you can connect with me on LinkedIn. So if you have any questions, you can ping me on LinkedIn. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. Also, if you wanted to book a session, a 30-minute session where you want to discuss about your front end doubts or any kind of questions, you can also connect with me on ADP list and you can book a session. You guys can scan this QR code if you are interested to connect me with me on LinkedIn and ADP list. Okay.
thank you, Shubham. Thank you so much for accepting our invite and be a part of our Chennai
Sure.
OutSystems UI event.
Thank you, Jerome.
It's been a pleasure having you here. Thanks you so much for the topics covered.
Thank you, guys.
So I would like to hand it over to Mrs. Keetana Kannan for taking quiz. Over to you, Keetana.
Hi everyone, let me share my screen. Okay, the screen is visible to everyone, right? Just go to www.kahoot.it or just scan the QR. If anyone facing any issues, let us know in our chat box. If you are not able to scan via QR code, just use www.kahoot.it and enter the PIN 6516288. Let us wait for 2 more minutes to start. Can we start? Or anyone facing any issues? Or shall we start? Okay, let me start. Okay. Okay, the first question is, consider the style sheet in the image. Which style sheet loads last when the screen with the block loads? The answer is the screen style sheet. Okay, we'll move to next question. The next question is how many CSS files would be generated considering the below image? The answer is 3. And we can go for next question. Where we can apply the theme. And the image is below. And the answer is module and UI flow level. We can move to next question. Changing the layout block in the theme will not impact the existing screens. The answer is true. And we can move for next question. Which of these is not a reason to use patterns? And the answer is increased performance. And we can move to next question. Which of these is the default base theme in OutSystems? And the answer is OutSystems UI. I think most of them correct on this question. And we are moving to next question. What is the purpose of the gutter width property? And the answer is space between the columns. And in the scoreboard, the Vibhava is on the top position. And we are moving to the last question. Is using ID selector to create custom CSS considered a best practice? This is the last question and this will decide the winners. The answer is false. Let's see who wins. Congratulations, Francisco, the third position. And congratulations, Mayur, second position. And the top position is Viber. Congratulations all. And the runner-up position is Adam and Sia. And guys, just send me your name and address and ID proof to Jerome, me or Krishnambal in LinkedIn or in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Kirtana. So, so congratulations, winners. As Kirtana said, please send your name, full address, and your KYC details for delivery to me, Kirtana, Krishnambal, Hathimeri, or Shriyamni or Vekanand. So you can send to anyone. And regarding the recording, so after the session, the recording will be processed and it will be available in our YouTube channel. If you have subscribed our YouTube channel, you will be getting it to know. And just want to make a small announcement, team. So we have our in-person event coming up. So as soon as possible, you'll be seeing our in-person event brochures and flyers. So please to register. And just a small note to people who are registering to the in-person event. The in-person event is going to happen in Chennai. So people who can make it on the day at the particular time, please do register yourself. And if you think that it's a tentative, please inform us that's a tentative registration, so that we are just not blocking, we are just making a soft block. So thank you so much, people who have joined. It's been a pleasure spending the evening with you. Thank you so much, Subham, once again.